Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to Motorsport Factory once again. For those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome to my channel. Got a little bit of energy today. Today, I wanted to kind of continue on my podcast from last time, how I discussed the performance related type of stuff for mechanics, technicians, tuners, and versus the fake customers and stuff like that. This ain't necessarily calling anybody out or calling anybody fake. It's just more of an understanding kind of a aspect. So it's not really related to performance related stuff. It's more in the auto repair and kind of want to have a discussion with for those of you who are viewing my channel for the first time or for you continuous subscribers. I want to know your points of views as well. So we're gonna be more like dealing with like dealerships and auto repair issues. Instead of like in part two, my last podcast where we, like I said, discuss performance for the fake tuning mechanics who pretty much, you think you're taking it to a guy who knows how to tune their cars and they don't know how to tune it. And then you have customers who don't do enough research and or think they know how to tune it themselves, and or they read too many magazines. This spark plug can give you 30 horsepower or something like that. Some of this stuff, like, you don't believe everything you read, man. I mean, it's one of those things it's just very stupid. But anyways, as the title kind of says, dealership and shop issues, or you can consider this part two on shops and mechanics. And again, what I mean by this topic is for you customers, what have you guys came across when you had to deal with shops, be it dealerships to independent shops or chain shops, whatever it is. Like, for example, like being lied to, price is too high for a certain service. Like, I'll give you an example. When I was taking care of a customer when I lived in the Bay Area, I got my notepad up, so I'm just looking at my notes. So if I'm not looking directly in the camera, I'm just looking at my notes. I had a customer who had a Dodge Stratus and needed one of those little water outlets replaced. And a shop wanted to charge $700 for parts and labor, which is a ridiculously extreme amount of labor. Part alone was maybe $20-$30, and yeah, you got to remove the intake manifold out of the way just to access one of the bolts to get out. But I think I quoted, like, gave my customer, I think only charged him like $150, and $700 was a bit much to me. I was just like, damn, it didn't take more than an hour and a half max. And it's not that long of a job, and it shouldn't have costed that much money. It's one thing, you have a dealership charging that kind of money because it's dealer stuff. Dealer parts probably most of the time are more expensive, and technicians obviously get probably paid like $30 an hour and stuff like that. So I just didn't get why a independent chain shop wanted to charge so much money. So certain services that cost more money than you actually would expect. It's very interesting. So a lot of times, like shops, like let's say auto parts stores, like say AutoZone, O'Reilly's, CarQuest, Napa, they obviously make their money on selling parts, right? You have Pep Boys who sell parts and they have the services. So it's easier to make $10,000 in a day just selling parts versus trying to make 10 grand in just trying to get repair work done. Repair work takes time. So, for example, anywhere from 30 minutes to 3 hours, depending on the services needed. So that's one aspect that I had just was weird to me, why they're charging so much. And that's why when I got into this auto repair aspect of this area of working on cars, it gave me more great gratitude that I'm able to work on cars and have the knowledge and know-how on how to do it. So I don't have to worry about getting ripped off and being stressed out about there's too much money and just money's being dumped into a car that's not worth, the all that work, and the value of the car is not even worth that much anymore. The other thing is, what about for you guys, like being lied to? So, for example, when I had a '97 Nissan Altima, when we first got it, it still had a warranty and stuff like that. I had put some aftermarket gas and brake pedal. It's an automatic, so just trying to find any little aesthetic just to kind of make it look nice. Put on a muffler, tint the windows. Did any little performance knickknacks I could. So at one time and point, the AC was making this weird winding sound. It almost sounded like you were driving a turbo or something, but I think the magnetic clutch or some bearing or something was given out. So took it to the dealership. Yes, I'm having to necessarily call out the dealership that I dealt with in the Bay Area. It was a Nissan dealership, and it was actually, they were telling my mom that the aftermarket gas brake pedals were causing the problem to the AC. Yes, exactly. And when the dealership told me that, and I was just like, what the hell are you guys talking about? Because they told that to my mom, because obviously her being a woman, it's, that's the way they're just going to go, because they think my mom's going to be gullible and they're going to take it off and try to fix it. And, when I was younger, this was approximately 20 years ago too, so actually more like, 19, 20 years. And it's just, obviously when you're younger, you're a little bit more hot-headed and you want to go in there and, just give them a piece of your mind, and to a point, grab anything and just throw it in their face. But, you have to keep your composure, and you can't really go out of the way, go get involved in, like, you don't want to have no jail time. And it's a good thing I have some sort of restraint. And, when people tell you, like, things like that, I know Nissan as a whole isn't at fault. It's just when you have the service riders or the technician, one person can cluster jam everything reputation wise for that company. And that's the thing about me and my company, is like, I don't want to hire some crackhead, meth head, dope fiend, who's constantly trying to get high and just want to party and stuff like that, and not be professional outside of work and at work. So, because one of the things you guys have to remember, kind of to give you a little business tip, Mark Cuban, when I watch Shark Tank, I like watching Shark Tank because it helps me sharpen my mind. So he made a good point that you have to be careful what you post on social media, because that in itself, companies are starting to look at your social media posts versus using criminal background checks. All they have to do is look at your social media and see what kind of person you are. Are you worth hiring? Because that in itself is a reflection of the company. And I wouldn't want to hire somebody that's lying to the customers. Yeah, in one sense, I made money, but not knowing how my customers did it. The customer may not want to come back to me ever again because they got ripped off, charged so much, and didn't need this and didn't need that. Also, my mechanic can just put more money in his pocket, and I'm not even trying to do any customer like that. So, scams like do oil change to, like, you can watch on YouTube that there was a lot of Jiffy Lube scams and they got in trouble for it, and you don't want to go through that. And it's hard to trust mechanics. You don't know what shop to take it to, and that's why I'm always about trying to build a reputation with me and my customers, and trying to provide them the best service. I tell them if they need this now, they need it now, and I prove it to them why they need it now. And if they don't need it, I'll just say you can change your brake pads. You got about maybe 3 months, maybe a month, depending on your driving style. I always try to provide OE quality parts, or OE quality, or better than OE quality parts. And if you want high performance stuff, then you gotta pay for the difference in the parts, because anything high performance usually can be more expensive than the factory. But anyways, when shops or mechanics post this sort of nonsense, as far as scamming people, overcharging, it just gives technicians and mechanics and mobile mechanics a bad name, right? So, speaking of mechanics and mobile mechanics, this is a message to you mobile mechanic guys in shops and technicians, and for those of you guys that work from home. When you guys are diagnosing a car, let's say it's a fuel pump, and you decide to replace a fuel pump, and the car still does not work or it's not running right, you either need to figure out what the deal is, or fix the car, or refund the money to the customer, right? You have to put yourself in the customer's shoes, and you have to find, let's say you're not a mechanic, even though you're a mechanic now, but get yourself out of the mechanic mentality. Let's say you don't know how to work on cars. You have to find someone to fix it, and you have limited time, and you're limited on your budget, and you don't know what to do, and you're stressed out and you're frustrated. Because I had some customers where there was a few techs that looked at a car, and this customer of mine ended up being down $500. They changed the fuel pump, they changed the fuel filter, so, and the car was not running right, so they're down $500. And it may have ran okay the first time, or I don't know exactly what happened, but it just the customer was frustrated, right? So again, you mobile mechanics need to put yourself in their shoes, being frustrated. You're down $500, your car's not running right. So what do? So you as mobile mechanics, like I said, refund them the money, or figure it out and fix it until you get it done right. Okay. Give you another example. A customer of mine had to pay to do a power steering service for an '09 Mazda 3, and the technician didn't put on a power steering hose on right, or something happened. And now that power steering pump failed. And that's not a cheap power steering pump. It's a electronic pump, right? Now she's having to pay for a new pump. Well, actually, she's not paying for a new pump. She went and bought a used one, which was like $240. I think the mechanic should have been the one to cover for that part. If he was the one to cause it to fail, pay for the part, pay for the labor, and be done with, right? Because a new pump costs over like $500. And for you customers, never pay a mechanic in advance. If they tell you, "Oh, I'm gonna go get the parts, give me the money, I'll go get the parts," if they pay them, they never show up. That's not a very good idea, because what ends up happening is they don't end up showing up. They don't refund you your money, and then what ends up happening is you're down. Let's say you give them $500, and then they don't show up. They don't diagnose the car right. They don't do a lot of things. Now they just pretty much stole $500 out of you, right? So that's a key thing for customers that I recommend. Don't pay in advance. Like me, I have suppliers. I have an account. I have a credit line with them, so I pay when I'm done with the job and the customers are happy and they're satisfied. Then I go pay the costs and return the cores and all that stuff. Okay. So let's see, going down my notes list here. Now the message, speaking on customers, now the message is to the customers. What you guys need to also understand when it comes to things like price for particular services, be it diagnostics or doing brakes, etc., etc. No, obviously prices vary depending on the mobile mechanic. Are they licensed or unlicensed? By the way, I'm licensed, so obviously I have to cover my expenses from the licenses to covering new tools and things of that nature, right? So some mobile mechanics are legit businesses like myself and have a license to maintain and other upkeep, like maintaining my vehicle, and to be able to do mobile work when I'm able to go mobile, because If I'm not able to maintain my car, I'm not going to be able to take care of you, right? So if I'm not able to take care of you, you're going to have to either bring it to me or you're going to have to go somewhere else. So the other aspect you have to look at, let's say a guy charges you $40 to do brake pads. You have to look at a few things here. Now, are they going to cover any problems that occur, like noises and squeaking, or are they just going to tell you it's not my problem, or they don't know how to fix that issue, or they may even say they're going to charge you extra to fix that noise, right? They may even lie to you, oh, that it wasn't just your pads, there was other bearing issues and I had to re-lube it and everything. So, and let's say, and I charge you something like, let's say, $50 to $75, depending on what the service is. Couple of things you have to look at when I charge you more. If I'm charging you more, obviously I'm maintaining my license and to cover expenses and supplies and utensils and things of that nature that help me keep going, right? One, it's I cover warranty in case something does go wrong. Like I had a customer, the wheel lock key ended up getting lost. I don't know if I handed it back to him or he misplaced it. I can't remember. But we're humans, we make mistakes. I'm willing to cover that. Okay, and I texted my customer and pretty much told them like, hey, I'm gonna I'll cover it. Let's not stress over it. Let me just go to the dealer, get you another one, and call it a day, right? So, and that's the thing, because I have no problem, whether it's my fault or not, I don't mind covering something. It's not a big deal. I don't make a big deal out of it. So again, it's like, the other thing is, I have to do it to maintain my company and to help it grow to a bigger thing than it currently is. And not just grow from auto repair and mobile work but it's also to help the brand aspect to it, from the tools that I'm working on to products and accessories and apparel. I need to be able to do that and to be able to cover the mortgage and other utilities and expenses around my home. That's all my overhead. That's what I have, right? So just think of it as for those of you who are my customers that are local, that are subscribed to my channel, or long distance, whatever, it doesn't matter. Just think of it as an investment in my company, my brand, and eventually I'm going to be working on more perks for you subscribers and Facebook fans. And for those of you who've been loyal to my brand and my company, I'm going to work on getting you guys perks, hopefully once I have not just the finance to it, but be able to facilitate and create the products and or benefits for you subscribers, right? Also know this, there are mobile technicians that charge $70 an hour, because I'm on several of these for sale, trade, offer your services Facebook pages. I'm on like 20 of them. That's how I advertise my business for the auto repair, performance installation and stuff, right? So there's mobile mechanics that charge $70 an hour. They may be good and quick and fast, but I don't charge by the hour. I just charge a flat rate. If it takes me a little longer, it's fine. It's not a big deal. So it's a lot of money to be charging for somebody being mobile, but I'm sure he has his reasons. Probably has one or two technicians, and he probably pays them like $15 an hour for each one and whatnot. But anyways, the other aspect you have to look at is also when it comes to different prices, let's also look at, for example, diagnostics. How much can that mechanic or technician do, and what are they capable of doing, right? So there's many diagnostic tools out there, right? Like spark plug testing, field pressure testers, Noid lights, compression testers, cylinder leak down test, smoke testers, battery, alternator, starter tests. You have code readers to full-blown scanners, oscilloscopes, gas analyzers, inspection scopes, and all kinds of stuff, right? Just to name the few I did, you can easily spend, let's say you bought brand spanking new tools, you can easily spend about 10 grand on a diagnostic equipment. Maybe a little bit less. Maybe I'm exaggerating, but like the Snap-on Varus, like their full kit, I think like every little gadget and accessory and adapter, I think it ran like $7,500 or something like that, right? And smoke tester can, a professional grade smoke tester can run like $1,200, right? But that's just that aspect to it, okay? So then again, you have to look at, if one guy charges $100 to diagnose the car, I'm sure he has quite a bit of like diagnostic tools. Like I just invested in a let me get this Mac Tools compression tester. Probably wondering why am I investing in a compression tester right now? If you guys can see, like this got all the hopefully you guys can see all the adapters and all the components, because I didn't want to just get a simple compression tester where it only has just one fitting and you're limited on the types of tools you need. So with all these little adapters and fittings and stuff, this way if I have a unique car that usually the fitting is usually good for all the Japanese cars, and then there's some for the American and European and whatnot. So you have to look at what you're paying for. So now my diagnostic charge gone up just a little bit if in the case I have to use the compression tester. But normally I just charge $40, do some inspections, check for vacuum leaks, broken vacuum hoses, to checking the code, to test driving and see what else can be done. So like I said, when the guy is charging you $100, I'm sure he has quite a bit of diagnostic tools, and he has a lot of knowledge and know-how on getting to the bottom of the problem, and or he's very familiar with the car too, right? Versus a guy who charges, let's say, $20, right? Be it you take it to him or he comes to you, but he's limited on the types of tools, right? Let's say he has only just a code reader, which I only have as a code reader right now. But I'm sure the $100 diagnostic guy has a full-blown scanner too, so he can see all kinds of stuff that's going on. But the guy that's only charging you $25, like I said, is more limited on the tools, and only can do so much, right? They can only do so much. They look at the codes, they try to diagnostic, they try to fix it, and boom. It's so you have to be, you get what you pay for, So, some customers complain I charge too much and that I charge more than a shop, which I don't, but it's just that customers aren't paying attention to what I'm offering them, right? Example I'll give you before I end this podcast is a customer had like a 2003 or 2006 Chevy Trailblazer. I quoted $620. That was a quote. That wasn't a final price. That was for brake pads and rotors and doing a full tune-up. A full tune-up. For me, a full tune-up is not just spark plugs and just some filter, just an air filter. It was doing a serpentine belt. It was doing a fuel filter. It was doing a cabin filter. It was cleaning the throttle body, cleaning the battery, and several other things like that, right? So, I'm looking at my notes here. So I would have been providing like synthetic oil instead of regular oil, premium serpentine belt instead of the regular ones. Like I said, front pads and rotors, and cleaning the throttle body and all that stuff, right? This is my package when you want to give you a full package, like changing all those things, all the maintenance required, right? Not just a basic tune-up that's just plugs and an air filter. So the customer was quoted like $540 from a shop, but I can guarantee you they were only going to cover the brake pads and rotors and the spark plugs, and maybe the air filter, right? They still didn't get the fact that I was offering way more stuff, and I've kind of gotten the prices cheaper on the parts when I called my supplier the next day. And prices vary on the parts depending on which supplier I have to go to, right? So, obviously depending on the brand, the better the quality, the more it's going to cost. And sometimes, my supplier has specials where instead of paying over $100, maybe parts on parts, I can get pads and rotors for maybe like $70. And you can probably get the pads and rotors and labor probably done for $150 to $200, whatever the case is, right? When I was finalizing the prices for parts and labor, it ended up becoming $450, which again, I offered way more things than the shop did. But again, people were not getting it. I was trying to talk to the customer on the phone, but she didn't want to talk. And it just, all right. So I was just like, okay, well, it is what it is, and just moved on, right? Because one of the other things you have to look at is customers, you guys have to understand that when I'm calling the supplier, getting the price, writing it all down, because on my online system, let's say it's $50 here, but I call him and he can do it for cheaper. Let's say it's $30. Okay, we saved another 20. When you add up all the parts and the price reduction by the time I call my supplier, you can save another few $100. And then what I also decided to do, because normally I charge, let's say $250 for the brakes, for the pads and rotors. I was like, since I'm doing the tune-up, I'll just bring the brakes down to 200 instead of 250, and then just work on a better price deal than what I normally would be charging. When I'm providing more, the more and more work you need done, the cheaper things can get cost. The cheaper things will cost. So like I said, some customers just don't understand what I'm trying to explain to them. They feel I'm ripping them off. Well, that's what it is to you. Okay. The other thing is, like I said, the parts cost will vary depending on if my supplier has it. Let's say you have Monroe struts. Do you want the regular struts or do you want the quick struts? Obviously, quick struts could be a little more expensive based on the based on the car, and then like some regular struts could be $90, and a quick strut could cost $150 because you have the spring and new mount. And it's all got the silicone grease already all lubed up into the stuff. So all you got to do is take the old struts out and put the new ones on, and you're good, right? So the other thing is, for you customers need to understand that if you're shopping on eBay and you're trying to compare prices that I have, it's hard to compete with eBay brands, be it a name brand or not a name brand, because some of them, let's say if you're getting struts or shocks for a Honda and you find it on eBay for $235 and I sell it for $280 because I have a chain I have to go through. My supplier goes through the manufacturer and I have to go through my supplier. I don't have the capacity to go through the actual brand itself to Monroe, so I can get everything more cheaper. You have companies, let's say A1 Auto, which they have a great YouTube channel and they sell stuff on eBay too. They sell on eBay, and yeah, you're buying it on eBay. Okay, you can get it from there, but you can't just compete with eBay stuff with a local parts and mobile mechanic guy, right? The benefit though you have with me is I can get the parts right then and there, like if you need it. The reason why I charged, I think it was like the $280 because the customer wanted just the parts, and I gotta make money, right? I can't just give it to you at my cost, so don't expect to get parts at my cost and you and then you just get away scot-free, because especially if you want me to deliver it, then now it's wear and tear on my car and gas money, so that's additional cost. So that's why I charged $280. Okay, this is what you're gonna have to pay for. But anyways, so like I said, it's hard to compete with the eBay stuff. So if you're just expecting parts from me, expect a markup on it. If you feel I'm overpriced, then you should have just stuck to eBay and not try to penny pinch. And so like I said, I can't sell you parts at my cost. If you're actually getting work done by me and you want the parts, you will get the parts at my cost. I only make money on the labor. But eventually that will end up having to change if I become a bigger facility, bigger company. then yeah, I have to charge you the cost on parts as well, and the labor, because I have a bigger overhead I got to deal with from paying mechanics, service writers, and whatnot. If I end up going that direction, but I'm not just focusing on just doing repair work. I want to be doing performance things and tuning, and pretty much like how you go to Pep Boys, where you can buy the parts and supplies and accessories yourself and do it, or you can have the technicians do it. But I'm not just focused on just auto repair. I'm focused on performance installations to performance tuning, and again, I'm focused on performance products, performance tools, and all sorts of stuff. So it'd be like walking into Pep Boys or something, but Motorsport Factory version of a lot of that. And so yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for this podcast. I hope I didn't say anything offensive. I hope you guys were enjoying the podcast, and if there's any disagreements, more than welcome to comment below, or you can make a response video. And join me on Facebook. Subscribe to my channel. For those of you who are not subscribed and haven't liked the Facebook page, I will also post a link to my website, to the current products that I have. I know I keep mentioning I'm trying to get a lot of stuff uploaded into the website, but I'm trying to hire somebody else now to help revamp the website to make it look more nicer, to have some more substance to it. And all right, so that will conclude this podcast, and I will see you guys in my next video. And yeah, you guys have a good one. Peace.